What's up guys, my name is Matt Zeffi and welcome to my channel. You know, I'm just really hoping that my dogs stop barking sometime soon. What's up guys, my name's Matt Zeffi and we got much to talk about today. DJI released their new Mavic Air and I wanted to just say some of the good and the bad about this new drone. What a day. I hate this chair. What a day to be a filmmaker. What a day. All right. So, there's much to be said about this drone. My feelings on it have yet to be decided, so maybe this video will actually help formulate yours and my own. I would say that's kind of a good thing because I'm not coming at this video with any kind of bias. But I do have some really strong opinions as of now. I'm more than willing to be persuaded if you guys have any concerns in the comments section. So the first thing that I want to criticize is the name. I don't even know what to say about it really. I think most of us were still wondering why the first Mavic was called Pro in the first place. I can't tell you how many times people would say, is there like a non-pro version to the Mavic Pro? Much like the Phantom line, which got the Phantom 4 Pro name. But what's really interesting is that the specifications for this Mavic Air are pretty much better than the Mavic Pro, in my opinion at least. Which makes it even more confusing that it's not called something different. And they're marketing it as something that's between the Spark and the Mavic Pro. But like I said, I'm pretty sure that the specifications for the Mavic Air are all better than the Mavic Pro and significantly better than the Spark. So I don't know, it's just really interesting. I mean, the drone, the specifications are great. It's just those things surrounding it are kind of really mind-boggling to me. Nonetheless, this video isn't going to be all criticism. I have some good talking points and I have some bad. I have with me some of these specifications for the Mavic Pro on this paper. So first thing we're gonna talk about is the size. This thing's really freaking small. Obviously it's not as small as the Spark, but in compare, it's about 41% smaller than the DJI Mavic Pro. I'm just looking at these specifications and I can't seem to figure out how this is marketed as a step down from the Mavic Pro. Maybe you guys could let me know in the comments section. I've been trying to figure it out all day. And this thing is said to weigh about 430 grams. And that's a bit concerning for me because I know a lot of people who are going to use this professionally, and in my opinion, the Mavic Pro was already light enough. It was already small enough. The fact that this thing's even smaller is just a little bit more scary to me. The Mavic Pro probably already had trouble flailing around in the wind. And heavy winds, I know you really shouldn't be flying in heavy winds, but let's face it, sometimes that happens. I know it happens for me a lot. I don't know how this thing is gonna put up when it's almost half the size of the Mavic Pro, which was already small. So that's just a concern I have. It might be negligible, but we shall see. If my dog barks one more time, nothing. I'm not gonna do anything. He's the cutest dog I've ever seen. So this thing's got friggin' sensors everywhere. It's got a forward sensor, a downward sensor, a backward sensor, environment sensors, just literally sensors everywhere. More sensors than the Mavic Pro, which again, $200 less. Interesting. It shoots in a HDR photography mode, which is actually pretty damn awesome. So in video, you can get the ISO to go up to about 1600 from 100. And in photo mode, it can go all the way up to 3200 in manual. I honestly would not use much of that. These drones are pretty much poop in low light. And that brings me to another topic of the sensor size. So this is a 1/2.3 sensor, and people are constantly complaining because that's obviously not going to be as good in low light. Personally for me, I don't really fly my drone at night. I've flown it sometimes at night, but like rare occasions, because yeah, these cameras aren't very good at night. And in the daytime, I tend to use a crap ton of ND filters because I like to keep the shutter speed down. It's just trade-off. The aperture of the Mavic Air lens is a 2.8, which is like a 15 equivalent, so very, very deep depth of field. This thing shoots in 4K Ultra HD. So that's that's kind of a downfall to the Mavic Air. Not much of a downfall for me, in my opinion. The Mavic Pro shot in Cinema 4K, or it was capable of that. UHD is very, very similar, and there's not much of a difference there. So in UHD, it's capable of shooting up to 30 FPS. If you toggle it down to 2.7K, it can shoot anywhere up to 60 FPS. And if you want to shoot in 120 frames per second, you would have to do so at full HD or HD. And you know, I was thinking, I don't know why you would ever want to use 120 FPS on this thing. I would never shoot anything pretty much other than 4K. At that UHD, you're getting 100 megabits per second, which is honestly really impressive. If you're shooting 120, you're gonna be dividing that by a lot, probably about 5. It already goes pretty slow. When you're flying it pretty slow to get that the smoothest footage out of that gimbal. And if you put it in 120 frames per second, I'm telling you, you're probably gonna regret it. You're gonna be looking at the same thing for a long time. Also, if you're shooting 120 frames per second, you're probably gonna see some heavy compression artifacts at that frame rate. I know I've already had that issue with my Mavic Pro, and that's not even shooting at 120 frames per second. Now, mind you, that the bitrate on the Mavic Pro is much less, but it's still a similar compression codec, so you're gonna have similar issues. And the 4K at a max video bitrate of 100 megabits per second is honestly, that's impressive for this. That's what my Sony a6300 that I'm shooting on right now, that's what that shoots at in 4K. Cringe. The video format is in H.264 or MPEG-4 AVC and a MP4 MOV wrapper. And really that's kind of the big downfall for these cameras. That's what differentiates this from like an Inspire. You might be thinking, wow, some of these specifications are really similar. They're really getting up there, but at the end of the day, the camera is gonna be 8-bit, and that's gonna be where the downfall is when it comes to post-production. It's an 8-bit camera, and I mean, let's see how much longer that lasts. We're kind of at like a crossroads in this industry, not just drones, but between cameras too. And we're getting some fantastic specifications. They keep coming to us. So it's only a matter of time that these cameras get 10-bit and we get better codecs that they're shot in rather than using an external recorder. Perhaps we'll get RAW in some of these. I know it's coming soon. And it's crazy to think that some of these are going to be sold at your nearest Sam's Club and Costco. Your friend's dad's gonna have one, and you know, we're at a point where it doesn't really, yes, we're at a point where the drone matters, but the camera operating skills inside you operating that drone are really what's important. The way you move the camera, the way you move the drone, these things are extremely important, and that's what separates amateurs from professionals. Now, I'm not a professional drone operator, but that's what I can gather from what I've seen. One of the things that I really like about the build of the Mavic Air is that it's kind of built over the gimbal, so the gimbal's protected much better than the Mavic Pro. I know that was something that was kind of an issue for me. I was on a glacier and the gimbal just gave out, and I had a problem with that, and I think it might have been avoided if, you know, there was better protection for the gimbal. So the flight time of this drone is, what's really interesting is this one's 21 minutes. The Mavic Pro is said to get about 27 minutes. That sounds about accurate now that I remember it. I guess that's just one of those things that comes with the weight being so much lower. Personally, I would rather the weight be higher and the battery be better. Just me though. It comes with 8 gigabytes of internal storage in addition to 120 gigabytes micro SD that you could put in this. 8 gigabytes, that's really not much at all. It's like 10 minutes of shooting in 4K. What I do kind of like about that is, God forbid, you know, you forget your SD card or something, you still got those 10 minutes of something. And that's just relying on the fact that you would possibly forget something. Obviously, you should never plan for that, and that has personally never really happened to me. Mistakes happen sometimes, and it's nice to have like 10 minutes of something. That's about it for the specifications, or the highlights of the specifications. My prediction is that they will release another Mavic in the series, and it'll be like a part 2 to the Pro. Their naming conventions are all screwed up, but that's besides the point. Overall, DJI is doing a pretty phenomenal job. They're kind of just blanketing the whole drone market and filling every crevice of whatever the users really need, in my opinion. I will likely hold out for another Mavic, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. So that's about it on what I think of the new DJI Mavic Air. And as usual, make sure to like and subscribe if you got anything out of this video. I have a ton more coming to my channel real soon. So that's about it. Take care, guys. Recording? I don't even know. Listen, it is recording. Would you look at that? Nice. Test 1, test 2.